Whoa, this is the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. Sitting next to me is my friend Lyon Herron. Lyon is one of these young people that when I see, I get inspired. I look up to him. He makes my day when I see him. Positive mental attitude all the way. And we're doing an interview about keeping a positive mental attitude, but also, you know, Lyon faces cancer and he's having a, what do they call it when it comes back?
Can't even think right now. The chemo's fucking me up.
So you're on chemo. All right. So this is the deal. You're trying to get into some gnarly, like new stuff for cancer, and we're trying to raise some money for Lyon. And instead of just putting out the meme on the social media, I was like, let's interview Lyon because this dude has a positive mental attitude, and a lot of us think in life that we got problems. We don't have problems. So why don't you give us a breakdown of what's going on, Lyon? And
so yeah, I mean, start off with the first place is that I was diagnosed with a disease called Gardner syndrome at 4 years old. What it is a mutated gene in my genotype, and that controls all the cell growth in my body. So saying that if you have a tumor, hernias, cancerous cells, cancerous polyps, your body can stop, my body can't. So it's already 1 in a million you ever have the disease. 97% chance is genetics, 3% you grow it on your own. I grew it on my own. So it's 1 in 300 million to start off with.
Really?
Yeah. So it's basics is 1 in 300 million, like base off, born. So I'm a mutant to start off with, a mutated gene. So my mom called me her little mutant, teenage mutant child. So that started off with, and then so over my life I've had 21 surgeries, 3 years of chemotherapy. I've done 3 rounds, case study UCLA, large intestine removed, colon removed, 2 tumors removed from my left hip, 2 hernias, 2 removed from my right hip, portacath put in for chemotherapy taken out. I had a 6-pound tumor removed from my abdominal wall, all my abdominal muscles, replaced the alloderm, and then brought your muscles over and it grows back. So over the past 8 years it's been growing back. And then so recently, as of 6 months ago, we did an MRI and we found that there were still in my body, there are 12 tumors. 12 tumors in my body right now. But out of those 12, there's only 4 that are real life-threatening. 2 of them be on my ribs, which I've had for about 10 years now, but they haven't really changed much. They're just always on monitors because they're dangerous. 1 underneath my ribs and then 1 on my deep stomach. There are a few, I have 3 on my femur, 1 on my hip, 1 in the deep tissue or deep muscle in my hip as well. But the 1 in my stomach in the last 4 months has gone from about a silver dollar to about a baseball size. So it's over doubled in size, which isn't really natural. So yeah. So right now what we're doing is we started chemotherapy last week, and to see if we can maintain it. And we're looking to raise enough money to where we can have a comfort fund to where we can go to the Mayo Clinic or MD Anderson or the Cleveland Clinic, which are all the forefronts of cancer research, as well as desmoid tumor research, as well as we're talking to doctors in Israel, doctors in Germany, and just getting suggestions around the world because, not to be a Debbie Downer, but the Western medicine world isn't that good. They're there to put a Band-Aid over it, and if you go to other places around the world, they're there to fix the problem. So we're here to fix the problem. I don't want to be the person who's always on medicine. I want to be the person who's healthy, and I want to be the person to be the forefront of what health can be from a cancer patient.
Did you people get that? Did you really get the list of what's been going on since you were 4?
Since 4.
Wow. I mean, I've always known, as a member of our community that you've been kind of battling cancer your whole deal. I had no idea it's that radical.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time. But the cool thing about it, though, when I was a little kid, I was raised by my mom and her brothers, and I was raised by this community of, the best people in the world. My mom was 16 when she got pregnant, 17 when she had me. She had a 10-year-old brother, 13-year-old brother, and a 19-year-old brother. And I was raised by, the fucking coolest people in the world. I got to, I got put on a skateboard at 2 years old and pushed through the house. My mom dunked me in the ocean at 2 weeks old. Got a dirt bike when I was 4. People, raised, my family put together money, got me dirt bikes. Everyone loves riding dirt bikes in my family. Got brought up to the mountain, learned how to snowboard when I was 4. No matter what my problems were medically, I always had an outlet, as in surfing, skating, motocross, or, snowboarding, having something to do, Never really was a team sport person. I was always about, my body's fucked up, but I always want to fuck it up a little more by doing something and injuring myself.
So that's so you've never actually like sat on the sidelines and been like, oh, poor me.
No. Why do that? I mean, there's another thing too. If you think about it, like, I'm so blessed to have my disease because it's made me appreciate what I am and who I am and where I'm coming from and what I get to go do, as well as it's brought me around the world, introduced me to some of the most amazing people. I've got to see the most beautiful places. Like, realistically, like, I'm grateful for my disease because if I didn't have it, I'd probably be a little snobby shit. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be a grateful human being that wants to give back, and I want to go surf and and make sure another cancer patient, I could teach him how to surf, or take him to the skate park if they like to skate, or do anything they want to do. I want to like push forward and be a positive aspect to the cancer world to show people that cancer can't hold you back. Like, and that's not happening.
Yeah, man. No, and that's like, and by the way, you have a job.
Oh yeah, I work 5 days a week as well.
He works 5 days a week, sustaining yourself.
Sustaining myself, paying for my car, cell phone, insurance. I obviously have still help from my mom. I'm still young. I'm not fully self-supporting just yet, but still work. I think I'm going to take a little medical leave from work for a little bit right now. Just I'm not feeling entirely good, but still sustaining, keeping my job and trying to surf, trying to skate, but the chemo's kind of got me down a little bit. Okay,
so, I got a email from one of my viewers like 4 months ago talking about this very thing. He was sick. And how do you overcome that, like getting up, doing chemotherapy, being a positive guy like you are is a huge benefit for that, I'm sure. But like, how do you maneuver around your own body not feeling that well?
I mean, like, there's a few different aspects to it. You kind of gotta time your day. You gotta know when you're gonna feel good and when you're not gonna feel good. And when you're gonna feel good, you gotta to grasp it and fucking get it while you can. Because if you pity yourself all day long, you ain't gonna do shit. You're gonna sit in your room and feel like shit, and nothing's gonna happen. But like, if you kind of time in, you're like, I know I feel good at this time, so at this time of the day, I know I can go and do as much as I possibly can during this time. As well as just like, being positive is the biggest thing. Like, if I wasn't positive, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be alive. There's no fucking way around it. Like, and so I mean, just because I'm positive doesn't mean I'm have to like be happy all the time. You got to let your emotions flow through. So I mean, I could be bummed at one moment, but someone's gonna pop a joke, I'm gonna laugh, and all of a sudden I'm back to being positive and happy again. It's just all about just keeping your mind open to all positivity and being just stoked, and just knowing that you might feel shitty right now, but then a couple hours down the day, you're gonna be feeling better, and that you can go do something. And then
so you allow yourself to have your moments of this is beat.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you got to do it. You got to feel your emotions. You can't be like the happy-go-lucky all the time, but you can keep a positive attitude even when you are down, knowing that it's going to get better no matter what. And, and put it this way, it's like, like, this is just a bump. Like, it's a bump in my life. It's just showing me, maybe for a minute I wasn't fully grateful for what I had. And this is life showing me, like, look, you've been through this and you can't not be grateful. You got to be grateful every single day, and you got to be stoked every day and realize that, life's a gift. And if you don't grab that gift and take it home and put that on a pedestal, then it's all going to be taken away again.
That's some heavy, that's the truth of it all. The matter. So you're way more in touch with the truth of life than your average bear. I mean, living here in Malibu, we see, I've seen happier faces on people on lifeboats sometimes, and they got the world by the balls. But you're the guy who has the world by the balls, ultimately, in this weird inverted way. Yeah,
I mean, in that sense, it's like I don't know, like I said, my mom told me at a young age, she goes, you're going to have this for the rest of your life. You're going to learn to deal with it. Like, that's what it is. Like, she told me when I think I was like 6 or 5. She was like, this is not going away. Like, this disease was going to be with you for the rest of your life. Like, learn how to deal with it and be positive about it. And I was like, ever since then, it stuck with me. It's like, yeah, I might be down at moments, but that isn't going to stop me being the person I am and being like the, influence to other people.
So you were 6 years old when you were really kind of filled in on what's really, I mean, you had been through surgeries and stuff from 4, right?
Yeah, well, by 6.
But you're a little kid then, like, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really know. When I was a little kid, it was a lot easier because I didn't have the fear. Because my mom and dad took the fear away, and they always made it a lot easier. Like, oh, we're having surgery. I was like, cool, we're having surgery. I get the nitrous gas. I got to go to sleep and have fun and giggle. And I wake up and be like, oh, this is shitty. And then it was always, like, don't worry, like once you get better, we're gonna go to Hawaii, or you're gonna go to the beach, you're gonna surf, or we're gonna go to like the happy place. And the happy place was always like going to the beach, or my uncle was taking me to the skate park, or something it was always like just a little something that I got. It wasn't always like like, oh, like we're going to the hospital, it's gonna be bad. I was like, we're gonna go to the hospital, but once we're done with this, like we're gonna go have fun.
I got you. So there was sort of a like, oh, we're gonna get through this and it's all gonna be good.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't like a down or like, oh, it's just.
No, there was never a pity, and it was never like a, oh god, we gotta do this again. I was like, okay, we're gonna do this again, and we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna get, we're gonna go do something fun again, and so we're gonna have fun no matter what it is.
But I gather at some point, like you grew up and the fear did it hit you?
The fear hit me this time around, I think.
Really?
This time around, well, yeah, I mean, it's just being conscious about what's going on. I kind of took, an unconscious time for a little bit and wasn't really there mentally to really accept it for a minute. I didn't want to, for a long time, my way of being positive when I was like 15, 16, 17 was like, I'd pretend like I wasn't really sick, but I was, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, I'm fine. Everyone's like, oh, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I wouldn't really let it in. I wouldn't tell people, and I wouldn't let people in. And as I'm growing older and coming around this time, I'm being more open and telling more people about it, and being aware of what's really going on and actually accepting it, and now dealing with it as an adult, dealing with the mental aspect as well as the, the physical aspect. So now I got to deal with that as like, okay, like, it's my decision of what I'm gonna do now, not my parents.
Wow.
They have their input, but it's like, it's like the doctor tells me, it's like, Lyon, you're an adult, like you're gonna make the decision this time, not your mom or your dad. Like,
so when was the last time you were in the whole the midst of it where you were sick, like actively sick?
Actively sick. I mean, I'm always actively.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like it's in my body. It's in every cell in my body, no matter what, for the rest of my life until there is somewhat a cure. But I don't.
But I guess when you were last, when decisions were being made and you weren't an adult making, when was that?
That was 15.
So 15. So you've had what, 5 years?
8 years.
8 years.
8 years of just having it was all
living your life, being a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Being a teenager, doing what teenagers do.
Causing trouble.
Chasing girls,
skating, surfing, getting injured, just being a shithead and having the best time ever.
Yeah, no, because that's the thing. It's like, you see Lyon, it's a good day. We're having a good day surfing. Like, that's it, man. Like, I've always embraced your, like, energy as, like, a real positive guy. And, like, here we are. Like, it's... Like how we get in the cars, you actually put it out up on the Instagram and stuff. Like, I'm going in, and we need to ramp it up here, man. I'm reaching out to the community because the community has always backed you here.
Community's another thing too, and not just positivity, but the people in my community that I grew up with and people that I've looked up to my entire life have helped save me. We had a rough one, and when I was younger, I was 15. We were going to do surgery in Cleveland, and my insurance actually denied coverage for it. And it was a $50,000 surgery to remove a 6-pound tumor from my abdominal wall. And it was, I was given 3 months to live, and I was, it was life-threatening, and I was like, all right, this is it. So the community, we made T-shirts and wristbands, which I'm still wearing a wristband now, which is 8 years later. We sold wristbands for $10 and T-shirts for $50 combo, and we raised $50,000 to pay for that surgery in a matter of like a month.
Wow, that's pretty radical.
Yeah.
But what was that like? A moment where like insurance is out, you're caught in a limbo, your mom's with you, caught in a limbo. What was that conversation like at dinner?
It wasn't, but that's what I'm going back to, is like it was never really brought up to me like that because I never had to. My mom was always like, look, like you're dealing with all the physical parts, like you don't have to worry about the mental stress because you're already going to go into the physical and have the surgery. Gotcha.
And
so that's the biggest aspect of switching around and being an adult is now it's like, okay, my mom helps a ton and my dad helps a ton, and I'm not saying that cause my mom, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be alive. But still now it's the decision making.
You're stepping up to the plate more about like, this is what we got to do.
Yeah, just taking responsibility and taking action for it.
Radical. Yeah. Like, so this is your first like real big adult type of stuff.
This is the welcome to the big leagues type shit.
Now, So this sort of caught you by surprise.
Yeah.
You know it's always there, but it kind of caught you by surprise because you were being a young person, doing what young people do, right? And living your life, and boom, one day we're back in the trenches.
Exactly. It was literally such a shock. It was in the last 4 months ago we found out we had stuff going on. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, I had an MRI. A week ago exactly, I found out that they grew, and 4 days ago I started chemo. So in the last 2 weeks, it's all
everything changed.
Everything changed so fast, and the community and the people around me that have always had my back and supported me have stepped up to the plate and been there right again. And it's just you can't forget how much a tribe of people really are always there for you. It's like as soon as there's a hardship, people come out of the woodworks to come back and help and fight for you.
Yeah.
And when you can't fight, people will fight for you.
Totally.
And that's what I got from this community is there's the power to fight for me when I can't fight.
Yeah, because you need that, right? It's not one man against life's a team sport, right?
Exactly, yeah. So right now is when I'm feeling shitty, I got my mom in front of me. I got her friends who are helping her out with research so she could talk to the doctors, and then other people that are bringing me alkaline water so I can keep my body healthy. And when I don't feel up to going out to go to the go get stuff for myself, someone will bring in juices for me, and it's just that community aspect of people really wanting to help and wanting to be there for you. And so it's remarkable. It's unbelievable, the feeling that I have right now. I've never felt so loved and supported in my life, and I fucking can't thank everyone enough.
That's really radical. And so when now into this phase of it all, are you researching it? Are you becoming an expert on this subject, or is that sort of adding to the heavy, a bad energy to it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm to put it this way, I'm trying to learn. I'm slowly but surely putting my foot in the door and kind of watching my mom and see what she does, so I can kind of I'll not take over just yet, but really start to get more involved in it, so I have the knowledge that later on, if anything happened, my mom isn't there to help me, I can be the man to take care of myself, obviously in a medical situation. So, yeah, slowly. But I don't want, it's not bad vibes because it's all knowledge.
Yeah, it's not, you're not sitting there dwelling on oh gosh, the horror stories of it all. You're approaching it all with the real
it's funny.
Positive vibe.
I like the medical aspect of it, honestly. When I was a little kid, when I was 15, I had my big surgery. I had someone who was filming a little documentary on my surgery and my medical illness, and I asked him to film my surgery. And so I got to go in and watch, them cut me open, pull it open, cut the tumor out.
You're kidding me.
No, we got the footage.
You have the video of that.
That's 6 hours. He sat there for 6 hours or 5 hours and filmed it. Filmed them fucking cutting my stomach open, pulling me apart. Yeah, I got the footage.
And you kicked back and watched it.
Oh, I felt there was a little woozy part when they're taking it was the laser, and they lasered the tumor out. There's a little, you see a little bit little much, and you're it's okay, it's a little gnarly, but then you're fuck it, do it to me.
How weird is that? Being in the experience unconscious and watching yourself conscious in this, it's
fucking so weird. Because you're I look so lifeless right there, and you're just out cold, and there's a barrier, and then you look over, and then you pans over, and I'm just being I'm wide open. It's pretty badass out, dude. It's fucking sick. It's pretty
that
sick.
Is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
You most people wouldn't have I don't know if I could watch something.
I think I wanted to see it.
You needed to see it.
It was that was the 4th time my stomach's been cut open in that same scar. So I was fuck, dude, if this is number 4, I want to see what's going on. I want to see what they're doing.
Just to know.
Just to know, just that was my 17th surgery or something like that, or 16th surgery, and I was fuck, I want to know I want to see what's going on. I know they cut it open, they go in there, but I want to see really what's happening when they're in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
That's amazing. And how is it? How is your relationship with the doctors? Is there one that's been regular, or is there you kind of moving through a system?
When I was a little kid, I had a real close relationship with this one pediatric oncologist. His name is Dr. Ted Moore, and he still is the man. We're still in contact with them. We go to him with questions to find other oncologists, because we've never found an oncologist that's as good as him. He was our from what was that? I think it was 13. No, it was 10 to 17. He was my oncologist, and there every step of the way and was, really a big part of what happened. And so, unfortunately, as you grow older, you can't keep the pediatrics anymore. You got to move on to the adult. So we've gone through probably like 5 oncologists trying to find one right for us. And so right now I'm in the process of finding a new one. But I've had that one that was always like, he's got like a special place in my heart because he was the guy. He was the guy
when you were young.
Yeah, he helped me out a lot.
So let me ask you this: when you're out looking for these new oncologists and stuff, I mean, what's your criteria for, like, is it an energy thing, a vibe? Like, what are you looking at?
Yeah, it's real vibe. Because like the one right now, the guy that I have, he's such like it's like a grouch, like a really closed-minded grouch. Like we went in there on Monday, and I was like, hey, so what about this? And he's like, no, it's not gonna work. And I was like,
whoa.
I was like, what about it? He's like, no, it's not gonna work. And I was like, you don't even listen to it. Like, you don't even hear what I'm saying. Like, you didn't even hear me like finish it. He's like, no. No,
you're not. That's not positive.
Right?
I
was like, what the fuck, man?
Let's talk it out. Yeah.
I was like, I want a guy who's gonna like give me feedback so we can go back and forth on it and get information from each other, not just a guy who's like, I'm my way or the highway and that's it. Like, so.
And so you're like a highway. Like, I'm all right. I'm out. I'm gonna go find someone.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, luckily, like, we agreed on the medicine that I'm taking right now, but other than that, like, we have no agreements on anything else.
That's not. That's got to be a mental.
It's a mental fuck because
this guy?
I walk out of there and I'm like, I got 0 out of that right there. I'm like, fuck, dude, that sucked. But then I'm like, you know what? I know there's a doctor that I can connect with that I'm gonna find sooner or later. It's bound to happen. You can't go this way.
So you were, when in the beginning you're saying, so there's sort of, and I've always kind of viewed this, there's a Western medicine
Eastern
thing
medicine
that's balled up. So you're looking at it like, because our body's a spiritual vessel, exactly. and you're running the positive mental attitude. So cancer seems so invasive how they treat it a lot of times with.
Yeah, I mean, it's, don't get me, don't take this the wrong way by any means to anyone out there, but what my perception of what's been going on in my life with my disease is that with Western medicine, they're practitioners. They practice medicine, and they practice medicine on their patients. You know what I mean? There's no real. I mean, there's cases that are that are positive cases. There's cases of negative cases. But there's no proven facts that it's gonna work 100% of the time. Any medicine that you're gonna take. Obviously, everyone's different. So, like, when I went to Germany when I was 15 to go see Dr. Jacobs, who was working with Farrah Fawcett before she passed away. When I first got there, she did something called a blood sensitivity test, where she took vials of my blood and put in different things and tested different medicines on it and found what my blood was receptive to right off the bat within the first 10 minutes of being in her clinic.
Really?
And I was like, wow. I was like, we just did a case study for 9 months and it fucked me up. And within the first 10 minutes, you're already making sure that, like, what will work for me. I was like, this is like a true, like, when you go to places like that and you see the quality of care people want to give to you and concern they have, it's like when I went to, like, Germany, and I went, I've traveled to see healers around the world as well. I went to Brazil to see John of God, and I've done this and that, and people around the world, they want to fix the problem from the bottom up and actually clean. It's like taking a cut and cleaning the cut out and making sure it's clean so it's going to heal properly. As to in America, not all the time, but majority of the times, they're going to put a little Neosporin and a Band-Aid and be like, all right, it's going to be, you're good, go home. And, next thing you know, it's infected and bullshit and this and that. And you're like, wait. And then, like, go ahead and take this medicine's going to help it. And that kind of doesn't work. And you got to pay money. I mean, not throwing that down, but it kind of is what it is.
So you as a growing being like this, it's becoming a spiritual pursuit as well as a physical pursuit.
Yeah, I mean, again, since a young age, my mom's been very spiritual. Like, my whole family knows she's very spiritual, what she does. And so we've always looked to go for the spiritual, always homeopathic, naturopathic way before anything else.
Sure.
So, like, actually, before we did chemo from November 1st, or it was about a little bit before November 1st, till, actually, I'm still doing it. It's called CBDs. It's an extract of THC. And it's a cancer-fighting property, and it's supposed to work on, majority, like, all the cases I've seen have all worked. For some odd reason, it didn't really work for me, but, I mean, we've always go, like, we'll choose homeopathic, naturopathic before we go for the actual chemical way.
So I'm like, I think I'm kind of average. What exactly is chemotherapy?
Chemotherapy is a chemical therapy.
Okay.
So it's a broad more of a broader spectrum to. It's a chemical that's gonna go in your body. It's gonna kill every cell, but it's gonna really kill the cancer cells. But it's gonna, it kills everything, not just one.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why people, you lose your hair, you're sensitive to the sunlight, you feel really shitty. It just you feel achy. It's because it's really affecting everything in your body. It's going through, and it's a chemical that kills a lot of things in your body, and it really harms a lot of your body. But what it does is that when it hits the cancer cells, it really pushes against, it fights those things primarily. So it doesn't go in there and single out the cancer cells. It kind of hits everything, but it really hits the cancer cells. Really? Yeah.
So are you going to lose your hair?
They say that my hair is going to thin. So I don't know, but I have really thick hair. So it's like, this shit's fucking pretty on there. But if it starts to thin, I'm going to just start shaving my head and say, fuck it.
Yeah, man.
Fuck it, whatever. Pull a Slater on it.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Go for it. Don't run from it, right?
Exactly. I'm just going to embrace it. But they say the only thing that I'm kind of bummed about, they're saying that I might have blisters on my feet and hands. So
blisters?
Yeah, they say the chemo creates blisters.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I'm like worried about. I'm like, fuck, that means I won't be able to skate or surf or walk as much as I want, be active.
Now, is that... Does it like, so if you've slammed skating and beef jerkied yourself up, right? Does that affect how you like bleed out?
I think,
or is your blood thinner? Or
my blood would be a lot thinner. Yeah, it thins your blood out, as well as it just makes you more prone to any sickness. Like your immune system drops low.
Really? So you got to be careful around sick people.
Sick people. So if I slam and I just fully get like full road rash, if I slam like bombing a hill or something like that, and I have an open wound, like I'm way more receptive to getting infections.
Gotcha.
So I gotta be careful and not slam.
Yeah. That's always the trick, right?
Yeah, don't slam.
Now, does that as a surfer, like, are you way more prone to where you surf, or how are you going about that? Because LA, it's we lucky when we got Zuma. It's pretty clean.
It's pretty clean, and we have beach breaks and stuff like that. So I think I gotta pick and choose my battles with, I'm not allowed to be in the sun for more than 15 minutes at a time.
Really? Because
your skin's so sensitive and it'll burn so easily. So I can only surf super early mornings, sunset sessions, or full moon sessions.
Really?
Yeah.
You can only be in the sun 15 minutes.
Try
that out, people, dude. Really?
Yeah, realistically, if it's direct sunlight, like what it has been the past few days, I gotta be in the shade.
You gotta duck out.
I gotta duck
real
out.
Quick.
What was it, 2 days ago when it was 100 degrees and everyone was at the beach? I kind of had to take one for the team and just kick it inside all just watch movies.
And you don't seem like an inside guy.
I'm not an inside guy. I'm really an outdoorsy.
Yeah.
I love to be at the beach. I love staring at chicks. I love surfing. I love being outside. I hate being locked indoors. So it was kind of a little lame being locked indoors, but you gotta again remember where you're at, and then that's only this short of time. It's a 3-month period that we'll be on this chemo.
3 months.
3 months until we do the scans, and hopefully we'll go from there. But if it's 3 months now, after the 3 months, it's this chunk of my life. There's gonna be, I have so much life to live. I can't let this 3 months get me down.
Is it a liquid or a pill?
It's a pill. It's a 200 milligram pill. It's called Nexivar.
Really? And it's that radical? A little 200 milligram pill is that?
Fuck you up.
Really, dude?
It's the worst.
Does it all, I don't know, you take a Valium or something, right? Does it affect your
motor skills?
Yeah,
mentally, actually it kind of does. It feels like you have the worst flu / the worst hangover, and just bone, sometimes you'll get bone aching, you'll get joints trying to hurt, and you just feel weak and fatigued, and just
And you're on it right now.
I'm on it right now.
And you look pretty good.
Well, it's only day 4, granted.
Okay, so talk to you 10 days later, you're not going to be quite as spry, or you've been through this before, so you can kind of gauge it, right?
I've been through it before, but this one is a lot gnarlier than any chemo that I've been through.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like this one's affecting my body more than any other ones that I've been through.
Really? Already?
Yeah, already. It was the first 2 hours of taking the first pill, I felt like shit. I was like, oh my god, this is gnarly.
Now, when you go and did you have to stay in the hospital at all, or did they just go and give you a pill and walk out the door?
I have 200 pills, and it's a little kit, starter kit. Here's your chemotherapy. This is what you're supposed to do.
Really?
And it's in a little bag with the pills, and it's the daytime. It's it's like the Monday, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, little things. But I do that.
How many you have to take?
2 a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. But the thing is, sucks though. You gotta take it. You gotta, eat, wait 2 hours, take the pill, and then wait an hour. After you take it. So I like to wake up like 6 in the morning, take it, go back to bed for like an hour, wake up at 7, and then by then I can eat. But then evening time, like you gotta eat and then wait 2 hours, take the pill, then you gotta wait another hour to eat. But I don't even have an appetite. I think in the past
really, because that's a big thing with chemotherapy is people you're not hungry because you feel like garbage.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Like the past 4 days, I've had 2 meals.
Really?
I just try to like drink like smoothies and juices.
So are you juicing a lot?
Juicing, just to get my nutrients flowing.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's your good time to be the juicing craze is gone nuts. So you get some pretty good juices out
there. Luckily, then there's so many juice places that are opening up, and so I'm like, and I made a good friendship at this one by my work, and luckily it's all hot chicks and they love me there, so I can go in there.
Oh, you're a handsome guy, dude.
They're like, oh, the cancer patient, like, come on in, we're gonna hook you up. And I'm like, yes.
So I mean, if any, are you looking? Why doesn't a juice company sponsor you? To be hot, like wear the logo, right?
Fuck, I'd wear that shit.
Yeah, man. Like that's interesting that juicing companies aren't sponsoring like.
That's a good one to look into about actually sponsoring cancer events.
Yeah,
and sponsoring like cancer foundations being like in collaboration.
Now, are you like as a guy who's actively involved in it? Are you promoting any cancer organizations?
I am. What I do, I promote the Young and Brave. Young and Brave. Yeah, it's a couple of local guys from up in Ventura, Oxnard. They do it. It's for childhood cancer. Like it's for people who, like myself and a lot of people that I know who are going through cancer at a young stage and a young age, and even up into their, mid-20s, late 20s. It really it's a 501c3 nonprofit organization, just benefiting just to help kids and families out, supporting them, raising money, and just being there for people and, the kids who have to go through it.
Because that sounds like a huge component is not being alone.
Yeah, just having people behind you and backing you is the biggest thing. And for a lot of families, I'm so very fortunate. I grew up in the place that I did, and I've had the support that I've had my entire life. It's really made a huge positive influence on myself. But not every family and people are fortunate enough to have that. Yeah. And so what the Young and Brave does is they really bring that, camaraderie and backing and support and love to families that don't always have that, and to kids who are going through cancer at a young stage, and they really, really, really are there for them. And I love the foundation. All the guys that that started it are good friends of mine. One of the guys is Nathaniel Curran. He's a pro surfer.
Okay.
And just an amazing guy. And he was like one of my favorite surfers in California. Sure. And then 2, he started the foundation, and then, obviously I get to be a part of it with my own story. And then it's just cool because I get to meet some of the, most amazing people through this, through the charity and then through the disease. It's just.
So is there like, I mean, you're in a unique club, essentially.
Yeah.
Like cancer survivors and the whole thing. I mean, is there sort of a network? Do you guys meet up for like conventions or stuff?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
I've been very fortunate. There's another place, foundation I'm a part of. It's called the Desmoid Tumor Research Foundation, DTRF. And I've been a part of them since I was 15. All my big surgeries, I donate part of my tumor to their research area, so they can take my tumor, because desmoid tumors and sarcomas are such a rare tumor.
Because you got the mutant thing, the 1 in 300 million.
Yeah,
so you
I got
some special stuff.
Yeah, so they really, I send my tumor out to like 7 hospitals in the nation, and they do research on my tumors.
Let me ask you this, a weird question. It's all like there's a medical and it's got big money thing. Do you sell the tumor thing, or you give the tumor?
I give it.
They don't cough up some cash for your tumor to help you, or like free surgeries or stuff like that?
No, I mean, I'd rather for that.
I know it's going to a good cause, but I mean,
nah,
it's just an interesting thing.
It is an interesting thing, but yeah, I mean, in that retrospect, I'm helping someone else.
Yeah, I get you, but like,
yeah, I get it.
It seems like it's almost like a unique, valuable commodity out there in the medical research world.
That's a good way to look at it. I never really thought about it like that. I always just thought about just being like, I'm just giving you guys like this. This is for you guys to research so we can find a cure, no matter what.
And there's the difference between Lion and your average bear. Like you're in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Like you thank God to your parents and how you've been raised. I mean,
very fortunate.
I mean, that's the deal, right? Is it comes from the ground floor.
It really does. I mean, you're a product of your environment, and my environment was one of the best. And so luckily I have the mental aspect of that. And, I get to portray that mental positivity to other people around, that I've met. And I've got to actually, when I was 17, I got to speak at a doctor-patient symposium for the DTRF. It was in front of 250 of the nation's best tumor surgeons, as well as cancer researchers, as well as families of patients. And it was about 400 people that I stood in front of, and I read my story, and I got to speak in front of them to share what I've been through. And so I was elected to be that person, as well as there's a few other things like Oceana is a company that just pay, they back people, they back cancer patients, they back any environmentalist groups, environmentalists, and all that stuff. And so I got the Oceanic Hero Award when I was 16, and the person that got it before me was Al Green.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So
I mean, as an adult, right? We were talking about you making your own decisions and cutting your way into this whole thing. As an adult, have you thought about like being I mean, you're such a positive guy, like a motivational speaker for just your average bear out there. Like, I guess when I saw that you were sick, I was like, wait a minute, like you're a guy I see, I'm like, there's positivity. Like I always get stoked to see you. Like, and I know, and I'm like, wow. And here we are, and the more I'm talking, I'm like, wow, this is something else is going on here about the whole tapping into that.
Yeah, I mean, I've in the recent months, I've gotten more of a clear mind into life, and I definitely have thought about it, like I can definitely raise the spirits of people who are down. Like I feel, like one of my friends who was sober actually just relapsed, and he called me last night crying, and he was asking me, he's like, how do you stay positive? Like, how do you do it? Like, I want to know how you do it. And I really broke it down, like I broke it down here, and I really just, he's like my brother, and it hurt me to see that, but in retrospect, like, oh, I'm here to help you. I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never here to judge you because of your fault. I'm here to help you because I want to see you get better. And so, like, what I just really broke it down and told him how I get through my day, and knowing that you can't always be positive. You got to let your emotions flow, and you got to feel them, and you got to let them go, as well as if you're going to cry, fucking cry. I learned that this year. Like, after all my things, I never cried of any of my shit. And this year, I broke down and I hysterically cried. And it relieved me of so much tension and so much stress that I was been holding on for the past 19 years.
Really?
Yeah, I never cried of pity because I was like, I'm fine. I'm the man. I'm cool. I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And my mom was like, you need to fucking cry. Like, it's almost a bitch that you're not crying.
yeah, you're doing it the wrong way.
Yeah, she's like, you just need to, and like, I was like, all right. And every time I was like, I'm going to cry. And then I was like, well, I don't know, you're not going to cry. Like, just kept going, and then one day a wave of emotion hit me, and I let it flow, and I literally just, I got to cry for like 20 minutes, and I bawled, and it wasn't a why me, why this, it wasn't pity, it was just letting it out, and it was one of the most relieving feelings I've ever felt in my life. And so telling that to my friend last night, and he texted me this, I texted him this morning, I was like, hey man, I hope you have a good morning, I hope you're doing all right. Let me know if you need any help. Give me a call. I love you. You're my brother. And he texted me back, and he's like, you know what? The things that you said to me last night helped me so much. You have no possible idea. He's like, you right there, just give me the guidance and the motivation, change my whole aspect and mental aspect of what I can do and what I should do. And so that right there, that was this morning, and that just really kind of opened my eyes. Like, you know what? I can bring a positive word and positive light to people who are sick, and I would ultimately like to do that.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, for me, you learn that you got to give it away to keep it on. The whole thing is like people being of service is really our whole mission here on Spaceship Earth, is to help our fellow beings raise themselves up. And I think people get caught in these huge lofty ideals of like, we're going to stop global warming, and can you help the dude standing next to you? Yeah. Lift his spirits up a little bit, and help him, the ladder,
I agree with you 100%. I mean, like, it's getting out of myself as well as just being able to, even if it's like the smallest thing, like, if I see someone that's like short on a couple, like a bucket, grabbing a coffee, if I have the money and I'm able to do it, like I'd love to, like, I'm like, here, dude, don't even worry, like, let me just help you out. Or for someone, they're like, just anything, it helps me be a better person mentally that I helped someone else without return. Because I know later on in life, something will come back to me, and I know that it wasn't like, like, what am I getting out of helping you?
Yeah.
It's like, I want to help you. Yeah, it's this selfless, just helping someone else.
Well, that's the comedy is that, like, the people who do the charity things want to get their names on the thing. It's like, no, you're supposed to do it anonymous.
Yeah, exactly.
Ultimately.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's just another thing, too, is just being helpful to life. Living life on life's terms is what I go through every single day.
And ultimately, beyond your average person on...
Yeah, relatively.
Yeah, dude. I mean, hey, on just like base level stuff, like, do you got a girlfriend or like...
Fuck, man, I haven't had a chick in a while, but...
You've been playing the field.
I've been playing the field the last few months. I kind of took like a little break to figure out, like, just to take focus on myself. And if ever, if a chick, presents herself to me in the way that happens, then fuck yeah, I'm totally on it. But I mean, I think right now, like, lust sounds nice, but I'm no position for love.
Yeah. Because what, you're 23?
I'm 20. I'm 22.
22.
Which, like, yeah, like, I think I'm like, oh, it'd be so nice to have a girlfriend. But then I'm like, I know that something's gonna happen in a relationship. We're gonna get in an argument. Then I'm gonna be pissed off, and then I'm gonna do this and that. Then I'm like, I don't have the mental capacity for that right now.
It's not a good time for it.
Right now is not the best time.
Yeah, relationships are tough.
They're a tough one. Yeah, I've been in them, but like, I'd rather have, like, people tell me, like, is there anything you need, like, right now I'm me being sick, and I'm like, you know what, just give me love, support, and positivity, and like, just keep me in your thoughts, and that's all I need. And like, if you. And they're like, well, call me if anything, like, there's a few certain people that I call a lot. And people, I tell them to call them, and I don't really, but I really should. And I don't know. It's just...
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one, but with the girlfriend aspect, I'm not having a girlfriend anytime soon.
Good. But I saw you went surfing on a trip recently. I saw some pretty decent... Probably keep that under wraps, but where you were, but...
it was just over in Hawaii.
Oh, okay. You were stoked.
Yeah, I was very stoked. I got a couple amazing sessions. I got to spend time with some old family friends I haven't seen in a long time, and surf some pretty spectacular waves. We got to tow in a few big days. And
really?
Yeah, and we got to paddle a few big days. I got to ride a big gun and wear a paddle vest, and we paddled a few, this big outer reef. It was like 20 to 25 foot, and I got to ride like a 9.6 gun. All
right, now, and you knew you were getting ready for a chemo run?
I didn't know I was getting ready for a chemo run. I was kind of like mentally, I was like, taking the CBDs, and I was like, everything's working. I'm not going to do chemo. So I was on the positivity, riding the high of like natural medicine.
No, but does it, as a surfer, did it give you that thing where you're like, I'm going for it. I'm going.
Oh yeah. I was like, I never, throughout my life, I've been given 3 months to live twice.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And so, in that aspect, it's like, when a situation unfolds where it's big and it's good, and I have all the, everything's coming together, and I have the board, and I have the people to surf with, and the waves are good, and it's going to be, those sessions, it's kind of like, it's like once in a lifetime. It's like, who knows if I'm going to be around? Like, who knows? Like, I'm not saying that anything's happening, because I'm never going to die from cancer. That's my aspect. Yeah. But, what if I get hit by a car tomorrow and I die, and I didn't surf that session? I'm gonna be dead, and I'm gonna be like, fuck, I didn't surf that session. it's like that, what if I don't get to surf that, that big of a wave again? What if,
you gotta seize the moment, right?
Exactly. And so I got to have, three sessions of like 20 foot, and then one session of 25 foot with like 30 foot sets.
Radical.
And it was the fucking most amazing set, like some of the most amazing waves of my life. And one of the worst I had one of the worst falls and wipeouts of my life, and worst beatings and hold downs ever.
With the vest?
That was one session without the vest. I didn't wear the vest on the big day because I felt comfortable. I wore the vest the first 2 days, didn't wear the third day, and then the fourth day I didn't wear it, and that was the biggest day.
And you took the beating?
I took the beating.
Really? How gnarly was it?
It was the worst beating of my life. It's pretty much like taking a 2.5-story building to your chest. It's like falling down a 20, it's like kicking out a 25 stair, and then having it fold back over and land on top of you.
So do you have the moment where you're like,
I was falling and I was unbalanced and I was like, okay, like try to penetrate in the water, and I landed on the water and I started skipping on the face. And I was looking up the lip.
You saw the lip coming for you.
I was looking at the lip and I was like, come on, like please go on me. I was like, don't fucking land on me. And I took the lip to the chest.
No way.
Knocked the
You
one out.
watched it square
Just
up
watch
on you.
it come at you and you're just like eyes wide open trying to get a breath, and you're like, I'm already like out of breath because I just fell. Trying to get another breath, sliding down the face, and then took the lip to the chest, knocked the one out of me, and sent me so deep, and then sucked me out of the falls. And I, granted, I have a 9'6" board attached to my ankle.
Yeah.
So I'm getting sucked out of the falls with that, over the falls, pounded, came up, and there was like the bigger one behind it. And
That's
luckily, I kind of made it to the channel and didn't get that worked, and I got to dive off the board and swim down. But it was a brutal one. It was definitely a brutal one. But it was like a life fucking humbling experience, and it made me, realize like, okay, the ocean's my fucking higher power. Like
the ocean's radical. The ocean's that radical, right? Like cancer's gnarly. The ocean's like super, like that.
Like the ocean whoops cancer's ass.
That's radical, man.
Yeah, it's plain and simple. Like there's nothing like more powerful in my mind than the ocean.
It's truth, man.
That's straight up. Like I've slammed skating. I've knocked myself out. I've broken bones racing motocross. I've done all the good stuff. Concrete's hard. Water can be hard when you're going fast enough, but then you have the wave on top. So I mean, like I've slammed bombing hills and cartwheeled and road rash and knocked myself out and all that good stuff.
But yeah,
and
getting held underwater.
Getting held underwater is like the feeling of like, oh, I can't come up right now. Like there's no breath being, you can't get a breath and you're underwater and you're getting ragdolled and it's the fear of panicking.
But you popped up,
popped up and you gotta laugh at it. You gotta like come up.
Did you have to climb your leash?
I climbed my leash pretty bad.
Ah, that's the worst. So you were deep.
Yeah, I've never been that deep where like it like hurt. It was like I was deep underwater and I was underwater for so long. I was like, okay, this is a 2-wave hold down. Like I'm underwater. Like this is what a 2-wave hold down is gonna be like. I'm not coming up. And I was like preparing myself, and finally I kind of let me go, and I was underwater. I had no idea which way is up, and I finally kind of was like, okay. Like grabbed my ankle and started pulling up the leash, and then I like figured that out, and I did like one big breaststroke, and I was like, okay. And then I was like 2 big breaststrokes, and I was like, all right, I'm not up. Then I was like 3 big breaststrokes, and I was like, okay. And I did the 4th one, and after the 4th, I started panicking.
Whoa.
And I started kicking and swimming and like just blowing out air, and I came up and I was all dazed, and I like looked back, and there was the next one coming. And I was like,
the panic got you.
The panic got me at the end of it, which you're never supposed to panic, but dude,
easier said than done, right?
Easier fucking said than done, but. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It made me a lot stronger of a person, I'll tell you that much, and appreciate it.
That's how. Now right before we started, they've actually told you had 3 months to live.
They told my parents. My mom wouldn't tell because I was so young.
Okay.
She wouldn't tell me because then I would be afraid.
Could you read it on her? Like
no, I mean she would cry behind closed doors. So she would never. My dad told my mom when I first diagnosed, he's like, Barbie, you can never cry in front of Lion. Never show him fear.
Wow.
Because if you show him fear, he's gonna have fear. So never instill fear in him, so he'll never have fear.
So your mom's just rock solid.
My mom is everything. I mean, I have her tattooed on my arm. And there's fucking mom.
Yeah, your mom's rad.
My mom is the fucking shit. I mean, the fact that she, pregnant at 16, had me at 17. All the, adversity of growing up as a teenage mother and people talking shit, and then dealing with me having all my, my disease, all my surgeries, being a single mother.
So she's young when you find out she finds out you have cancer.
Well, my first surgery, she was 21.
Wow, your age.
Yeah, younger than me.
Wow.
And then at 23, she had at 22, she had a second child. She had my little sister. And then at 7, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. So by 25.
So that's like a different kind of cancer.
Well, that was
same stuff.
It's part of my disease.
But in your colon.
It's part of my disease. So what it was is they found that usually in someone's stomach they have like 30 polyps.
So it's centered in your stomach, generally speaking.
It's centered around my body. Like I have tumors everywhere. I have small osteomas, which are small bone growing tumors in my head. Like I have them there. I have them on my chest. I have my hip. My femur, they're everywhere. But that was just one. And it's so rare for a person of my age to have that. It's usually colon cancer. The way that I had it was usually an old man's disease. So I was like this little kid with colon cancer, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Wow.
Yeah, and so like I had the surgery, I had my large intestine, my colon removed, and then they did something called ileostomy pull through, a J pouch, which is a pretty much like a medical. It's like your own small intestine, but they try to create a colon out of it, like a colon muscle. They cut and sew it and make a pouch out of it, which is like a colon. And that got infected, and then I had something called a colectomy bag for 3 months, which I shat out of my stomach for 3 months when I was a little kid.
Oh, the thing out of the side.
It was right there. Shat out of my stomach for a bag.
No way.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 8.
8.
Summertime. Too.
8. You're looking at a bag then you're pooping out of it.
Oh, pooping out of a bag at 8 out of your stomach.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking nuts. It was a little fucking trippy.
Wow, dude, that's so. But you've had a lot of your intestines removed, right?
I've had my whole entire large intestine and colon removed.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have that at all.
So when you eat,
it's like a matter of like 30 minutes. I got shit.
Really?
Yeah.
That quick, because it doesn't go through anywhere.
It just goes right through.
But isn't that where you absorb a lot of the nutrients?
So I gotta hydrate myself a lot more.
Really? So you gotta constantly drink water.
Constantly drink water.
And what about like the nutrients? You take supplementals?
I did when I was a kid. I just eat more nutritional food. You know, I try to limit myself to like I'm vegetarian. I'm pescatarian, so I eat fish. So
okay.
I eat really nutritional based food. You know, a lot of alkaline based foods. Like cancer can't live in an alkaline state, so you know, like eating all alkaline based foods is
really it can't.
If you consist your body of an all alkaline state, which is very, very difficult to do, cancer can't grow in that. So that's like the ultimate goal is becoming an alkaline state in your body. Which
what kind of food is that? Like
kale, spinach, watermelon, garlic, lemon, like there's a whole list of them. I can't think of, but like
all the stuff a kid doesn't want to
chia
eat.
Seeds, yeah. But luckily, like I was really open to that stuff, and I was like, my mom was like, "Look, you need to fucking eat this shit." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
So you eat really healthy then?
Yeah, I eat pretty fucking healthy.
Nice, and you're smuggling some candy on the side.
Once in a while.
Yeah,
you gotta have a little, like little gummy worms or something like that.
Now, being a kid, right, going through it, the whole thing. How like when you drink a beer, does it instantly like fire off on you or?
No, I mean like when I was younger, yeah, but then as I got older, like I kind of built the tolerance. I mean, I turned into like a full-on beer drinker.
I got you, because it just seemed like that's something in there. Like
I think I learned to handle it.
That's interesting with the whole like, it's just the short. So there's a bunch of extra space in your stomach.
Yeah, and so when a big tumor grew in my stomach and they'd remove it, all of a sudden it was about that big. It was the size of a Nerf ball, a little football. And
you saw it. Is that the one you watched?
That's the one I watched, yeah. I watched them plop it into a bucket.
No.
Like, thunk. It's like the bucket size.
What did it, like some big white thing?
It's so gross. It looks like, how do you explain it, dude? It looks like the nastiest thing it just looks like cancer. Like if you can picture
imagine what cancer look like, that's what it looks like.
A big blob of fucking shit cancer.
And they slice that up and send it to all the places.
They cut it up and they send it to all the forefront cancer hospitals.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking nuts.
Now, so on the exploration of getting healthy, like, do you do the meditation or the acupuncture, weird stuff? Like, what are you doing sort of weird things? Like, not weird, I guess is a bad way to put it, but unique. Unique
is a better way to put it. But like when I was younger, we really accentuated on like the real healthy. I was like, I did acupuncture. Like I said, we traveled to Brazil to go see a healer named John of God, which is one of the most...
John of God
in Brazil. It's in Abidjan, Brazil. It's like 4,000 miles away from any coastal. It's in the heart center of Brazil. It's one of those beautiful places. So like
in the
jungle.
It's in the jungle,
it's
not
in the jungle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fucking took
So you went and saw some trippy dude in the jungle.
Yeah, it was huge. There's people from around the world there.
Really?
Yeah, it's very, there was like hundreds and hundreds of people there from around the world. You meet people from, Argentina and Germany and, America and everywhere, every walk of life was there, and with every different type of disease, even from like a alcoholic disease, it really like there's no...
So it's a non-specific thing.
It's non-specific. It's just pure
and
healing.
And John of Love?
John of God.
John of God. And he's a shaman, or
he's a medium, which You know what mediums are,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, they take the entity, and he pretty much works off the entities of dead doctors. It's one of the most fucking insane things.
How old were you when you did this?
I was 13.
13. So
Yeah.
13, you go off into the jungles of Brazil to see John of God.
Yeah.
And
it was, they do, it's so hard to explain because not many people want to believe it, but like.
Do you believe?
Oh, after I saw it, yeah, you gotta believe it.
Really? What'd you see, man?
Like, what they would do is, like, he would do, like, so you first show up in the morning, you have to wear all white because white is, it lets all the light and energy and positive energy into your body. And so you show up and they do the morning, the morning prayers and rituals and stuff like that. And he comes out in the morning, he's like, hello guys, he talks in Portuguese. There's an interpreter right there and he talks like that. He closes his eyes and he says his prayers and he like takes his big deep breath in and he'll open his eyes and his eye color will be a different color.
No.
Swear, like,
wow,
shit you not. And it's like a different color and he all of a sudden has this different tone. Like he talks in a different tone. And that's, every day is a different doctor, different entity. And they have all the doctors on the wall that he works in, that he works through. All these dead doctors.
Really?
Yeah. And so you go in there and you write down your medical, what's going on. And you present it to him, and he tells you either, you're going to do, they do these surgeries there. And they can be light surgeries where they do, it's all spiritual surgeries.
Okay, spiritual surgery.
You go in there, and he sits in the room with, a group of people that have a similar, they pick out the similar people, and they sit in the room, and he talks through the doctor, and you feel something, like, literally you feel something inside of you. It's like, it feels like something's like cutting inside of you. It's like this painful feeling and you're like, what? Like it's the most mind-boggling thing you've ever experienced. And they're like, okay, like, for the next 7 days, you can't be active. You need to be very restful, because they do these, they call them internal stitches. And there's this guy who had a story about how he had it and he didn't really believe it, and he was like, whatever. And so he was like being active and he was having these pains in his stomach, and he felt like, he felt like he had internal bleeding, and he went to the hospital and they did x-rays on his stomach and MRI on his stomach, and they said they had stitches that were bleeding inside of his stomach, but he had no incision marks. It was all from the John of God doing the spiritual surgeries. There's internal stitching inside.
So you went and had spiritual surgery.
And so what it did, it didn't necessarily like make like a physical difference in my body, but it made definitely an impact on how the rest of the, those couple of years panned out in my life, and being, having tumors not really growing as much, and, having that positive outlook on what's going to happen and what I'm going through and how I'm going to embrace it.
Wow, man.
Yeah, so that was a big eye-opener.
So at 13, you approached this with this open mind.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
At 11, my mom was taking me to spiritual healers, as well as I was doing chemotherapy, to do, like, in my mind, light therapy, where, we sit there and we meditate and we visualize light coming in and cutting the cancer and cutting the tumors. Sure. and sucking the tumor and eating the tumor away. It's like we used to think about it when I was a little kid. It was like, think about you're playing Pac-Man and you have the Pac-Man's eating away at the tumors. And if you sit there and you meditate and you visualize and you think that the tumors are going to shrink, they're going to shrink. No matter if you're doing chemo or not. If your mind has like so much power to really help you and to really, cure yourself. Like, we're such, it's the fact, like, you think about it this way, like, I had my whole entire abdominal wall removed and all of that replaced with a mesh muscle that we took my obliques and sewed them over my muscles. And within the last 7 years, my muscles have grown through again and reconnected themselves through that.
Yeah, our
human body can regrow and cure itself. It really can, if once you really get down to it and you really put the mental aspect and the positivity to it. And so if you do that and have that mental awareness and really, and let it, let yourself, kind of, and get away from like the materialistic and all the shit, all the other stuff in the world, and you take a breath and you meditate and you really think upon, personal, growth and health and spirituality, like, you can cure yourself. And that's what I did as a little kid, and that's what I'm doing again today.
So you're actively pursuing the meditative practice right now and getting that whole engine going.
Getting it, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to kick it back into gear again. I mean,
so you went off that path.
I went off that for a while, and I kind of got, I stood away from that for a little bit because I was like, oh, I'm cured, I'm happy, I'm good, and I think that's what kind of like, this is.
Oh, you let your guard down a little.
I let my guard down, and that's where God, started saying, he's like, in my mind, not even just God, because you don't have to take it as any God, because a God can be anything.
Yeah.
A God, it's a higher power. It's something, it's greater than I am. So whatever that is, it kind of was like, okay, you let your guard down and you started taking shit for granted, and here we're gonna give you a little slap really quick and let you know that
because you got a mission.
Like I'm here to make a point and to help people. Like there was a really hard time in my life where I was in Germany. I was doing stem cell treatment, and my uncle, my mom's younger brother, the one that was 13 when I was born, he was like my biggest influence, and he didn't have, everyone in my family has kids and he didn't have kids, and so like to me he pretty much like pinpointed on me and was like there. He taught me how to skate, taught me how to surf, taught me how to snowboard and ride dirt bikes, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the human being I am now. Like there's no possible way that I would turn out to be that I am now and have the respect and drive and love for everything I have. And he was, my number one biggest fan, my biggest influence, and everything that I lived for was to impress him because I loved him so so much. And he actually passed away when I was in Germany, skating a skate park in Arizona. Was doing a huge frontside air, and he landed and shot out and shattered his skull. And so I lost him, and so that kind of just let me let everything down. And so after a while of that, we saw a medium, and the medium, he came through with the medium, and if I don't know if anyone has ever witnessed what that is, it's spirit, it's spirits on the other side, and this guy can connect, and it's the person that can connect on both sides, and they really give you, like, it feels like you're talking to the spirit, like you're talking to the person that you've lost. It's the most amazing thing. And so we talked to him, and it was my uncle coming through and talking to us, and he goes, and the entity was like, Lyon, like, this is John. I want to let you know I didn't die just so you're going to die. Like, I died to become your guardian angel, and I'm going to make sure that you're going to live a long life. Like, you're not going to die anytime soon.
Radical.
And so it was like the most, like, I remember sitting there just crying, and I was just like, I want him back. But in the same aspect, I know that there's been moments in my life where I've had so many close, just so many close to death experiences in the last couple of years, due to like motorcycles and skating and all this stuff, and there's like a moment of clarity where I literally feel like he's like right here and he's saved me, and then like right now I know he's right here on my shoulder, and that no matter how sick I'll ever get, he'll be there for the rest of my life, not in the physical form but in the spiritual form, to make sure that I'm gonna stick around.
So you made contact with John, your guardian angel?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's like, I got him tattooed in the back of my leg and the back of my arm, and he's there with me every day. In the back of my leg, it's him doing a big slash in a bowl. It's a photo of him doing, a Smith over some stairs in a pool coping. I got that tattooed on my leg just for him. So
you're kind of blowing my mind, man. That's cool. I haven't really talked to anyone who's super in touch with it. Like, you don't bump into it, but I guess it's time to like spread that news.
Yeah,
in a way, right? Like man, like that's some incredible stuff. I mean, my viewers are all about this information. Mm-hmm. Like, you're an incredible guy, Lyon.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
I'm kind of speechless, dude. All right, so I think we probably should wrap it up. We're an hour plus deep. I know you're up late. You got to go to work tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I got to go to work. I got to go take my chemo pill.
You got to take your chemo pill. Okay, so we're going to put a link down below, and this is for you to fund so you can get some more treatment.
And as well as, I want to be in the forefront of, I want to be the person that's putting the first step into curing a disease that is uncurable.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying I'm willing to be that person, but I'm willing to be that person.
Now, are we putting my people, I will like. Are you accepting like mail or?
I'll take.
How are we doing that? Do you want that? Like you know what I mean? Like
yeah, I mean, I honestly, I mean, yeah, that'd actually be very uplifting is to have, you know, when I'm sitting in my room for hours on end, like to be able, you know, reading that. And, I mean, I read it on social media, and it's the most, you know, again, like it brings tears to my eyes to see that. But I mean, if people want to send mail, they're very more than welcome to. Like I would.
So we'll put an email address down below.
Yeah, email address, and then for donations we do the Young and Brave, and then do Lyon Lyon, and then just H, and then my page will pop up with my story. You can read about it. We update it about once a week just to keep everyone informed, and just really, you know, just making sure that people know what's going on, so nobody's in the dark about it. People really, you know, people want to know, people want to be updated. People, you know, don't want to donate to something they don't know about.
Yeah. So that it'll come back. There'll be information.
We're always putting information, and I'm personally updating my, you know, I don't know how many. A lot of people are up, you know, on Facebook, obviously, and so updating Facebook. My mom is updating Facebook. We have the Young and Brave. My mom has a few foundations of her own. Cozy Courage, which is donating money to kids who have cancer.
The blanket and the blankets.
Yeah, getting blankets to kids who have cancer and helping single mothers and stuff like that.
So on the final note, if there's someone out there who is just kind of coming into maybe their own cancer experience, then they're young, like what would your piece of advice be to, like, you know, quick one?
Just remember that positivity is the key to success. You're not going to beat it alone. You need the tribe, a family behind you, and if you don't have that, contact me, contact us, and I'm, you know, anyone that I'm in close correlation to, we're happy to help you out. And just to let you know, like, your mental is your biggest thing. Like I said, is just being positive and knowing that it might suck today, but tomorrow's a better day, and that you're going to get through this, and that don't let the tough times get you down, because all you have is now. Like, don't let that slip away, because if you let that slip away and you let your guard down and you become bummed about it, that's when it all goes to shit. So remember positivity, happiness, keep a smile on your face, and just remember that, you know, we live in a beautiful life, and this is yours. Don't let it be taken away from you.
Lyon, thank you, man. You changed my frequency, brother.
Thanks, dude.
I love you. I love you, Lyon.
Love you too, dude.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Wow.